you doing? This is Madhvi from TaroticallySpeaking.com, and today I have a very interesting video for you guys. Kind of taking off from the previous video where I did two different spreads to look at one single question. Now here's another sort of technique. Here's another thing I like to do is I use two different decks to look at the same question, right? So this is gonna be fun because I got an email recently from Lizzie, and she sent me this question. So because it's kind of a mixed bag question, and I said, okay, let me make up a spread for it, because why not? So I sort of broke down the points of her question in a mini bullet list kind of a thing. I think I have made a video about how I go about creating spreads on the fly. I will put the link up here in the screen somewhere. But meanwhile, let's just do this process here very quickly. I've already broken it down. As you can see, she had a 3-year-long relationship and she's recently broken up. So she wants to know what was the real reason, like behind the scenes, why he broke up with her. And that is kind of prompted me choosing this deck, the Tarot of New Vision, because as you can see, it shows what's going on behind the scenes. The imagery is very similar to the Rider-Waite, or it's rather derived from the Rider-Waite. So that has sort of prompted my choice of deck, because we see what's behind the scenes. So we'll get some real insight there, hopefully from the imagery, right? Then she wants to know what was her life lesson from this whole entire experience, and if there was, was there a spiritual lesson that she had to learn from this whole situation, because it was a 3-year-long relationship and they were pretty close, and then they just, like, out of the blue suddenly just broke up. And so she also wants to know how she should deal with it, this entire breakup, what she should do to get over him. Right? This is important, right? Because ultimately she has accepted that yes, this happened. So when she's looking at the real reason, the lessons and so on, she's trying to gain some insight on what really happened. But then she says, what, how can I deal with it? What can I do to get over him? And how should I move forward? How can I move past this? So basically, it's just all these points. And it's a very simple thing. You just pull one card for each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. All right. So if you want to go about designing this spread, how would you do it? So card number 1, what was the real reason? Right? Sorry about my drawing skills, I guess. What was the life lesson and the spiritual lesson? So here's what I'll do. Spiritual obviously goes up top and life lesson goes here. So what happened, right? What was the real reason? Then life lesson, spiritual lesson. How should she deal with it? What should she do? Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. What should she do to get over him? And how should she move forward? Looks like a sword, doesn't it? Like, if this is a sword, this is the handle and sword. So let's call it the Sword of Truth spread. Yay, we just made up a spread. All right, so let's do this. All right, so I'm gonna obviously pause this video and I will come right back after I've shuffled the cards in the deck and everything. Okay, so what I just did is I kind of shuffled the deck. Now I'm just regular shuffling the deck. I mixed it up. I mixed up the cards, so we have upright, reverse, and everything. Oops. And I like, one of the things I really like about the Tarot of New Vision is the fact that, see the back? You cannot make out if it's upright or reverse just by seeing the back, which is so cool. I like it when decks have reversible backs because That way you can, you're not very conscious of the fact that it is, oh, am I picking up a reverse card? Because somehow, somehow, it's like you're wired to not pick up something that's not upright. I wonder, it's strange, but I mean, I don't know if you guys have noticed it. So anyhow, the point is, here's the spread. Just, if you want, you can sort of pause and regroup. Here's the spread that we've just devised, and we're going to use this spread. Now, I like how the direction is sort of going from here to here, because traditionally you lay cards past, present, future, right, going towards from the left to the right. So I like how the sword is sort of pointing in that direction. That means she is, it's helping her move forward and so on. So I'm going to keep this spread right in front of me here, okay, or on the side here for reference. All right. And what I'm going to do also now is, see, instead of just pulling one card for each position, I'm going to pull two, one from this deck and one from that deck. Really, that's all there is to it. When you're using two decks for a single question, is you got to decide if you're going to go pull cards for each spread position, or you're going to go and just pull cards for one specific or few specific positions. Now I'm just going to go keep it simple and pull it for all the 6 positions. All right, so the first position obviously is, what was the real reason that her boyfriend broke up with her? So, okay, the real reason. Okay, then what was her life lesson? What was her big picture life lesson for this? I'm just going to keep them on top of each other. Okay, life lesson. Then what was her big, karmic or spiritual lesson? What was she supposed to learn from this whole entire experience from the, on a spiritual level? Then we have, how should she deal with the whole situation? How should she cope with it? How should she handle it, I suppose? Yeah, all of that, all the pain, all the hurt that she's going through. How should she deal with it? And what should she do in order to get over him? And finally, how should she move forward? There you go. All right, so I'm going to pick up the remaining cards. There you go. See the shadow card. Oh, I don't know, you guys can't see. It's a shadow card. Here is Ace of Cups reversed. That's pretty spot on. She's going through, see the shadow cards. Now this is another thing. When after you've pulled cards from the deck for your spread, the card at the bottom, and I also like to see what's on top. This is often called the shadow card, right? And the shadow card talks about, to me, it talks about what's going on behind the scenes, or especially what's going on in the overall environment of this reading. And oh, this is this is another. See how the cards come up when I'm doing a lesson type of spread. When I see a code card come up, I also like to see what's the next card. See, the Devil, right? Because code card does talk about people and personalities, but these are situation cards, right? More or less. So you gotta, the code card is a person, but you need to see the person in that situation. So here we have the Devil. So I'm gonna use that. And I also, as I said, like to see what's up top. And we have the 7 of Swords reversed. Okay. I'll put this aside. And of course, we have your Ace of Cups here. And see, code card, Knight of Pentacles and 4 of Pentacles. So now again, with this situation, here's how I'm going to look at it. All right, when I'm gonna just keep these spread cards aside for a bit, because here we go. Now, here's how we're gonna tackle this spread. All right, these cards. Oh, sorry. The cards from your universal weight deck, right? They're going to talk about what's really apparent, what we can see. Whereas the cards from the New Vision Tarot are going to talk about what's going on behind the scenes, what's not apparent, what's not being seen. Now, this is the shadow, these are the shadow cards. So, these are just going to talk about the basic environment surrounding this particular reading. And this, we still have these cards which we're going to open. All right. So, let's see this. I like to read them in a row and then them in a row. All right. So, this relationship was pretty toxic from what I can see here with this devil card, right? Although they were, and it's been going on for a long time, that she said 3 years, right? See the chains. But then as they grew closer, as time passed, that relationship, maybe it grew a little bit toxic. It became restrictive in various ways. Now she's the Queen of Wands. She doesn't like restriction. She likes to be free, and she's a very lovely person, warm and charming and creative. And maybe this relationship was very, very toxic, especially for her, because see, these two cards came together, right? And this one is separate. So ultimately, she needs to stop, right? Because this is a cheating card, but it's not about him or her cheating on each other. This is about somewhere she needs to get a grip. She needs to face the reality. She needs to stop convincing herself that simply because she was in this relationship for all this while, it is the right relationship for her. Maybe she needs to understand that, sometimes it's good that things are over, right? And now, oh yeah, if we have to see it this way, then these two come together and this one is separate. So now, here obviously behind the scenes, regardless of this fact that, she belongs in the light really, and this is all in the darkness, right? And so, but emotionally, this has been draining for her. See how the cup is sort of being drained out. Ultimately, the cup is emptying out, right? Emotionally, this whole situation has drained her out. It's literally wrung her out. And so now, here she is, you know, she's actually just observing this entire situation, trying to see. If you see this guy, Four of Pentacles. Traditionally, Four of Pentacles is all about, the picture. If you remember, it's about this guy who's holding on to all his pentacles there. But now, right in front of him is this big mountain, right? It's like a hurdle. So she's waiting. She can't get past this feeling that, if you kind of connect the dots, she can't get past the fact that, they have broken up. She finds it really hard to overcome the fact that, yes, although they were together for so long, she kind of sees this whole mountain right in front of her, and it's like, there's just a closed door there. That's why she's waiting and watching, because she wants someone magically to come, maybe to open the door. And this is, not to make any, I'm not judging anybody, but I have seen so many situations where, people are like, okay, I broke up, but let some other person come into my life and then I'll get over the previous person. But that's not how it works. You have to get over the previous person, then the new person comes in. You can't just, she's kind of waiting for something to happen or someone to come in to, remove this hurdle in front of her. That's the feeling I'm getting. So, Lizzie girl, you have to see here's how it connects. You have to stop telling yourself all this, right? You got to believe in yourself. You got to stay strong. Okay. All right. So this is this is just what we got from the environment cards. So I'm just going to put them away and we are going to look at the actual spread now. All right. So starting from the bottom, here we have 1, 2. Oh, I don't know if you will be able to see the whole thing on the camera. Let me see if I can move this a little bit. Okay. Maybe move this also a little bit. Okay. Sorry if it looks a little weird, guys, because I'm just trying to maybe get all the cards in the frame. So the angle is a little weird. Okay. Forgive me for that. I'm shooting with my iPhone. That's the best I can do. So now, the first position is, what was the real reason that they broke up? Okay. So, Eight of Cups reversed. Essentially, right? Essentially, this card means there's a lot of emotional stuff which because he broke up. He was the one who instigated it, right? So that kind of is the story that she told me, is in the email. So he wanted to break up, but for a long time he was unable to emotionally distance himself, right? So he's been wanting this breakup for a while. That's there, but he was unable to emotionally sort of distance himself from her. Ooh, and this card comes up again, right? And there you have the Seven of Swords. But I guess finally, somewhere along the line, because this guy is an opportunist, right? He takes a chance where he gets it. So I guess what the cards are trying to say, that he's been wanting to break up for a long time because maybe he doesn't feel that connection with you any longer, but unable to sort of drop the emotional baggage that's been accumulating. And again, the environment cards have already shown us how toxic the relationship may have gotten over a period of time. So here he took the chance when he found it, right? He took the opportunity when he found it. And so although it came out of the blue, he's been thinking about it for some time now. And just when he found chance, or when he thought he had the right opportunity, he just said, hey, let's break up. That's kind of what happened. He's been wanting to, maybe that relationship got hard for him too. All right. Now, let's see. Card number 2. What was her life lesson? And we have King of Wands, right? Her life lesson here. Now, again, interpreting court cards in a different way. The King of Wands is someone who is passionate, someone who is in charge, and someone who wants to do the right thing. And he's really connected to that fire energy, that passion, that creation, that energy to sort of, yeah, let's do this, that kind of, fury, passion and desire and drive, really. So her lesson here is to reconnect with that energy within her, right? Because maybe over a period of time, and we've seen that let me pull that card out. Now, this Devil card which had come up, right? As I said, this relationship could have become toxic and restrictive for her. And look, she is the Queen of Wands, right? So the cards want her to really, really take the effort. Now, the difference here is the Queen of Wands, typically, traditionally, this is the whole point. The Queen energy is more receptive because it's feminine energy, whereas the male energy is more aggressive because it's a masculine energy. That's kind of how this masculine feminine is sort of represented here. So but the suit of Wands is really a very masculine suit. So she is receptive, but she's also aggressive at the same time. And being in this toxic relationship may have dulled her shine for quite a bit. So the cards want her to be aggressive about it, and they want her to reconnect with that passionate, really, that's the lesson for her, that she needs to reconnect with her passionate energy, with her real self there. And see this? See how this comes up? See this? The King of Wands in the reverse from the from the Tarot of New Vision. All right, so essentially behind the scenes what's going on is she has disconnected from that energy. And again, over a period of time, as the relationship got toxic or relationship became more restrictive for her, she more and more she got disconnected from that passionate side of her, that energetic, alive side of her. The relationship, as I said before, dulled her shine, and the cards are saying you need to reconnect with that. Ooh, I like it when cards come up like that. So what was her spiritual lesson? So this is going to be really deep, because you're going to look at the spiritual angle. And my goodness, Ace of Cups reversed. Now the Ace of Cups has a very important lesson, right? Now Ace of Cups, as you can see here, and we've seen this one come up in the environment also. See how when the cards come up repeatedly, they are essentially really stressing the point. It's like if you write something and then you make it bold and underline it, it's kind of like that. It's like, here, highlight. This is the point I'm stressing on. The emotions being drained out of her, the feelings being drained out of her. Here's the thing. There are two lessons. The Ace of Cups essentially says your happiness, depends on you, completely on you, not on another person or things or situations, nothing. It doesn't depend on anything external outside of you. It depends only on you. That is the main lesson of the Ace of Cups. Now, we also see here that, as I said, all the emotions being drained out of her. Spiritually, the cards are saying you're now being emptied out. Why? Because obviously something new will come and fill it up beautifully. The lessons will manifest in your life. So on a spiritual level, what you went through in this relationship, the darkness that you endured in this relationship actually was some kind of a big test for you, where all the negative stuff that was there, maybe shadow stuff inside of you, right? It came out. But the fact that when you broke up, it's all getting emptied out. The cup is now, reversed, and all of that stuff which was clogging up really your energy, it's now going away. It's being emptied out. See this? 8 of Wands reversed. Now see here, we have this lovely angel behind these 8 of Wands, and she's got an arrow in her hand. Is it? I don't know what that arrow means. It could be the arrow of truth or something. Now reverse, essentially, the cards are saying, while 8 of Wands reverse does say very practically you'll feel tired, you'll feel worn down, which again the Ace of Cups reverse also kind of implies. But essentially, this knowledge, this wisdom, very, very sorry about that. I forgot to plug in the phone to the power thing, and then suddenly I was like, low battery. Oh, okay. So, as I was saying, although this process can be draining on her emotionally and energetically as well, the cards are saying hold on to your truth. Okay, hold on to the knowledge, the wisdom that is coming at you, coming through to you from this truth. This is the spiritual lesson for her, that she's being literally emptied out. Even though she feels tired and worn, she needs to hold on to her truth and be ready for when the good stuff comes in, because all the stuff that is being emptied out of her is essentially maybe the negative stuff that she has collected over time, all the shadow stuff that has resurfaced in her psyche, and that is being emptied out of her. So she, even though it feels tiring, she needs to hold on to her truth and stand there in her light. And ultimately, when the cup is completely empty and she's moved past it, with all this, she will regain that energy again. All right. So this was the heavy part. Now let's come to this point number 3 point number 4 here is how should she deal with this whole situation. And King of Swords, right? Now again, she's coming, see how she is. She showed up in the uh, in this in the how do you say, the environment as the queen. But every single time where the guidance or advice part is coming up, the king cards show up for her. So the cards are asking her to be very masculine, very aggressive, to take charge. Again, both wands and swords, these are very masculine suits. So the cards don't want her to sit there passively, right? They want her to become more aggressive, more active in this entire process. And the king of swords especially is very, very logical, very rational. So the question is, how should she deal with it? She should deal with it with rationality, with clarity, with logic, with her intelligence. She should examine this whole entire situation using her head. And she will then see a lot of clarity. She will then see a lot of lovely insights coming in, because it's all, she has to deal with it very, very smartly and very, very intellectually, and being in charge, being in charge of the whole entire, what happened. She needs to examine that in her head rather than in her heart. All right. And behind the scenes, see this 5 of Wands reverse. So let me just hold this upright for you so you guys can see. This is the card of chaos, really. This is the card of, all clamor, really, in that way, that everybody's sort of getting together and trying to do something. Perhaps they're trying to shoo away these crows, but it's confusing because nobody has a clear idea of what to do. Reverse, that's not the case anymore. All that confusion has given way to some sort of clarity and some sort of harmony. So in short, the cards are saying the more logically you will approach this situation, the more clear you will be, the more the confusion will be reduced, the more in control you are of this entire, whatever is going on, this entire story, whatever you're looking back on and trying to gain insight on, the more intellectually you address or attack this, the more this confusion, what should I do, where should I go, what should I do, that aspect will slowly dwindle away. Some sort of harmony comes in, again, energetically also. So the cards are saying how to handle this. You should handle this intellectually, logically, rationally, and as you do that, a lot of that confusion, a lot of that chaos sort of will start coming into a harmonious sort of balance there. Then card number or rather position number 5, which is, what should she do to get over him? This is going to be interesting. 5 of Pentacles. Wow, this is deep. Okay, now 5 of Pentacles here. As you can see, this is the card of hardship. This is the card of, especially in money related readings, you don't want this card showing up like this. Why? Because this card clearly is talking about financial poverty. So are the cards telling her to become poor in order to get over him? No. You have to see this card within the context of the question asked. And see this. They're going through a hard time, but they're still together. She still has friends whom she can rely on, even as she goes through this really tough period. Because see this environment of this card, they're out in the cold, they're literally with nowhere left to go, right? So she feels lost, she feels rejected. This is also the big card for rejection, fear of rejection, all of that. So she feels obviously rejected. She feels like she's been left out into the cold, abandoned, right? And it's hard on her. It's really, really hard on her. But even in this hardship, she has some friends that she can really rely on for emotional support, right? She has friends because that's what she needs right now. She needs emotional support. And deep down inside, the cards are saying you need to deal with this square in the face. You need to look at your fear of rejection. You were not rejected. You were not abandoned, right? What it is 2 of Pentacles reversed, right? Ultimately, this guy going through whatever he was going through, juggling the various should I, shouldn't I, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. He stopped juggling because he too was feeling restricted or constricted in that relationship, perhaps for various other reasons or maybe similar reasons as you. Maybe you can sit down and have a chat with him later, much later, and maybe figure out why he felt that and why you felt that. But ultimately, you need to stop feeling that. You need to stop feeling like he rejected you or he abandoned you because you were not good enough. That is so. What happens is every relationship, when you break up, you do tend to feel this. Okay, and I'm not trying to make your pain sound little, but what I'm saying is try to look beyond this. Okay, ultimately try to see the truth beyond this. You're worth so much more. Okay, so in order for you clearly, like while you're, because that's kind of why they're saying, look at the King of Swords here. You have to analyze this intellectually. You have to look at this, because now this kind of ties in together, right? Because how should she deal with it and what should she do, right? Both of these are tied in together. You have to analyze this fear. You have to analyze this feeling in a logical manner, not in an emotional manner, right? So you got to stop going back and forth about it. You got to drop that. And you got to really look it square in the face and say, okay, this is what happened. This is what I'm feeling. But intellectually, that's not the truth. This is just what I'm feeling, because whenever anybody goes through a breakup, they feel these things. So it's normal, it's natural, I'm feeling it. So now I should stop. Ultimately, it will stop, and you will look, there are friends. You still have friends that you can believe in, that you can trust, that you can rely on, that you can confide in, and analyze this situation intellectually. You need to move on, right? And that brings us to the next question. How should she move forward? Four of Cups. Now, this is a strange card to come up like that. But look at it. This Four of Cups has various interesting interpretations. He's looking at these three cups here, sitting there under the tree, and he's like, nah, I'm not doing anything about whatever it is that's going on. He's just observing these three cups. And then suddenly, fourth cup pops up. Now, this could be the ideal cup that he's looking for, or this could be suddenly something pops up which he had not expected. Ultimately, the cards are saying, distance yourself and observe this situation. The emotions, the feelings, you need to observe this. As you're sitting there, being distant and observing this, an insight will suddenly come. You will have that moment of, what's the word? Epiphany? Yeah, something emotionally, it will click, you will realize it. Distance yourself from this emotion, separate yourself from your feelings, and you will then get that insight that you're looking for. All right. And here we have the Wheel of Fortune reversed. This is, again, now when we're looking at the Wheel of Fortune, right, you have to consider the very, the imagery just implies a lot of stuff. It's a lot of spiritual, karmic stuff going on behind the scenes here. So reverse, obviously, Wheel of Fortune talks about the fact that it's not necessarily going well. I get that, right? But here's the thing, it's a wheel, it keeps turning. So if it's reversed now, it will turn and become upright sooner or later. So although you're going through a difficult time, this is perhaps part of your fate. And see, now you connect that with this now, you can, right? This is part of destiny. This is part of maybe the spiritual lesson or karmic lesson that you were meant to learn at this point in your life, right? And as you grow, as you learn, as if this insight that you're going to be receiving over a period after, as you distance yourself from this emotional situation, the insight that you will receive, right, using your intellect, you're going to really, really understand what's going on behind the scenes, what really was going on behind the scenes. Spiritually, it's going to enlighten you, and it's going to literally, whatever you're going through, all right, even though right now it feels like it's hard, it's difficult, what you need to do is look at it intellectually and not emotionally, and drop the confusion, drop the, is it this, is it that, is it this, is it, drop that, and you will see clarity come in a moment as you distance yourself from the whole situation emotionally. That even though right now things are not necessarily going in a positive direction, so to speak, that is part of the lesson. You were supposed to go through these experiences because you were supposed to unearth perhaps these shadow elements within your psyche. And as you unearth them, right? So if you remember the cards we had in this what is blocking you here, yeah, is your own fears. Your own fears and your own sort of unreadiness. Hey, we can even pull another sort of set of cards here. What is blocking you from, if there is a blockage, what is blocking you? So again, this is called pulling a clarifier. Okay, now I don't think I have space here to do the whole fan, so I'm just going to randomly pull a card out. So what is blocking her? If what could be blocking her, or what might block her from moving forward? We can actually put this as position number 7 here. Okay, so here we go. And what could block you, right? So we have, see this? Your own mind. You've told yourself some stories. Now this is reversed actually. So this is, in a way, it is positive that you are able to walk away from this, right? These are the negative self-tapes that we tell ourselves, and those block us. Like this 8 of Swords lady, she keeps telling herself, I can't come out of this, I can't come out of this, I can't come out of this, and so she doesn't. But she can, her feet are not tied, right? So reverse this card it kind of gives you a promise that yes, you have what it takes to break out of this mental block. This is partly why you're going through what you're going through, right? All the negative self-tapes, that sort of stuff has risen from the psyche, and you have to really address that. What are the stories that you've been telling yourself about yourself, which are not true? You have to look at that, okay? And behind the scenes, we have the Knight of Swords, right? You like to really rush in and resolve everything. You like to really run right into the heat of things, the thick of things. Maybe, because we are looking at what is blocking you. Maybe rushing right in is not the answer. Maybe you need to take it slow. Perhaps this approach is good. The Knight of Pentacles, slow and steady, observe, right? But then he just stays in one place. This guy, he's rushing right in. So you got to find a way in between these two extremes, right? You got to examine what are the things you're telling yourself, the negative self-talk that you've been giving yourself all this while. And you have it in you to break out of that trap, really, of your own mind. Instead of rushing right through it, you need to take it slow and steady, and you will be able to accomplish it. So let me move this a little bit more. Hopefully. Yeah, this. Where's my pen? So now we have card number 7 here. What is blocking her? What is or could be? Right? So here, not only have we on the fly created a spread, we also added an extra spread position as we did the spread. But we also used 2 different decks to gain insight now into each spread position. All right. And yes, look at the beautiful, lovely guidance that we received in the process. So, Lizzie, when you watch this, I want you to email me back and let me know what you thought about this spread. And thank you for giving me permission to take your question and to make a video on it for my channel. But as you know, just email me back and tell me what you thought of this whole entire spread. And so let me know. All right, so you guys, after watching this, talk to me, tell me, what do you think? Does this spread make sense? Does this whole thing sort of come together for you? What do you think? Do you also like use two different decks to do a single question or a single spread? Do you follow a similar method, or is there something different that you do? Talk to me. Tell me what you think. And yes, please don't forget to click the like button, to share and to subscribe this video channel that I have, right? So I keep making videos like this occasionally, and if you email me, or if you privately, if you don't want to put the your questions in the comments, you can just totally email me with your question. And if if you want, I can do a video about it as well. So so if you want me to do that, just put video email or video question or something like that in the subject line, so I know what kind of, so I'll look at your question that way. Okay, so as I said, click the like button, share, subscribe, and talk to me. Tell me what you think. I would really love to hear from you. And so I'm signing off for now. But in the meantime, you guys stay good, be good, play with your tarot cards. Bye now.